What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great day. It's a little after 12:30 here. I actually had off today. Took a little trip last night. Went to the link, did my fantasy draft. Got home. Eagles signed someone, so I wanted to talk about that later tonight. We'll have a live video for the last day of training camp, so hope to see you then. But appreciate you taking the time. And now, whenever you're watching this, would love to hear from you. Any thoughts on this move? But we got ourselves a roster move, so that's what we're here to talk about. Appreciate you all taking the time, hitting the like button, sharing, subscribing, all the things you do to support the channel. Let's effing go. Now, one more let's effing go. 15 days away from the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles returning to the field. And I can't effing wait. Little Steve Van Buren there for you. But look, almost 2 weeks away. I cannot believe it. We'll be having a pregame show next week on oh my God. It's all coming. We'll be talking about all these things. So 2 weeks from now, we'll have a game, but a week from now, we'll be talking about breaking this game down. I cannot believe it. But let's talk about this move here today. And the Eagles, will continue to make moves, not only in the offseason, but the regular season. And you'll see this with the practice squad, and people will continue to follow the media and get upset, get confused. I don't understand it. But so we signed Chance Campbell today, a linebacker, has a few years experience here. We'll talk about him in a second, but we also got rid of Giles Jackson there. So that was the undrafted free agent wide receiver that you saw in the preseason there. And look, we talked about him. Highly doubt he was making the team. Maybe he could try to make the practice squad. But, this is one of those moves. And I saw, a couple of things that you guys were saying, this must mean Jihad Campbell is strictly an edge. What is Howie doing? All these things. Howie is doing literally his job. This is normal. This is how the offseason goes. And when you're at your final preseason game, you have some of these questions that you had throughout the last few weeks. They have answers now. You don't need to play Jihad Campbell, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. So you need some depth there when you've got injuries and you're not playing Bond. Nakobe Dean's banged up. So you only got Gant and Dixon here. So keep those kind of things in mind, man. This is football. And in the preseason, you're going to need to see some guys here, some special teams help, things like that. So adding a linebacker is not weird. This does not mean Jihad Campbell's getting benched, moved to edge, whatever is going on here. This is not the next Hall of Famer. This guy's going to be lucky if he can make the practice squad. Obviously, he's got a very short amount of time to learn what's going on here. So I don't know where that stuff comes from, but let's talk about what's actually going down here. Let's talk about Chance Campbell here. Now, one of you had asked me about him during free agency, and I talked about him then, and we're going to talk about him again here now, my thoughts on him. Look, this is a depth player, a special teamer, not somebody that I believe is, going to be starting in the NFL. Maybe one day. He's had a few years here in the NFL, but this is one of those guys who's just a football player. So I understand why people like him, just one of those sideline to sideline linebackers that, makes the play. Doesn't have the, blazing speed. I think he's 4.57, which is good for a linebacker, but it's just he doesn't have all those crazy testing numbers. He wasn't somebody that they were going out of the way to talk about. And for me, it doesn't matter. But this is one of those guys. I understand that, but he could be great on special teams. So that's why he's still in the NFL. So this is not this a knock on him, but he's just not starting for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's not what's happening here. So let's take a look at, Tennessee is where he last played, and he got banged up, missed all of last year there. So that's unfortunate, having, I think it was an ACL, missed all of last season there. So, that sometimes allows teams to pick up a little diamond in the rough. Maybe they would have, seen something from him. But, in 2023, he didn't play enough snaps for me to get a PFF grade for you, but he played in 4 games, only played 5 defensive snaps, 62 special teams, and had 3 total tackles. So if you're watching for stats, you're obviously not going to be, too blown away there. But he was selected in the 6th round in 2022. So Only played in one season here so far. This would be his technical third year, I guess. But let's take a look at the last time he actually played. And this is why people like him. So out of Ole Miss, one season there, he played 3 seasons at Maryland, and 6'2", 232. That's a good size. Her height, but not, maybe he bulks up a little bit. Maybe he puts something on there. Having that speed he does, I think this is why he's in the NFL. And you can see 4 forced fumbles, 3 recovered, 2 passes deflected, 6 sacks, 110 tackles, 13 tackles for a loss. When he transferred to Ole Miss, he really gave himself the opportunity to shine, and he did just that. So great for him. He shows, on tape that he has the ability to play football. And that is, the key here. And I think that as a linebacker with those instincts, a high football IQ kind of guy, a good leader they talk about, this is the kind of player you want in the locker room. That's why you give him a chance. And again, he's going to have this preseason game on Friday. He has a couple of days to try to prove something. Cut downs next week on Tuesday. Right now, is going to be the end of training camp today, and we'll talk about that. But don't overthink this one, man. This is just another, depth piece, a guy that's going to compete on Friday and play some special teams, and we'll see if he can find himself on the practice squad here. But let's take a look at what this did to the roster. And at linebacker, as, I've been talking about here, that Zach Vaughn is the one starter. I believe Jahad Campbell is locked up that other starting spot, but Trotter Jr. has been playing really well. So keep the competition alive. Smile Munden's making this team. You know how I feel about him. Big fan. But again, Gant and Dixon are your guys that I think, really you're going to play. And the same, now with Campbell, these guys are going to have to go out there and they'll get a lot of opportunity to play here on special teams and on defense. And, Munden, I'm sure he'll play some, but he's making the squad. So this is why you add someone at this position when you pretty much have it all locked up. And we can take a look at the depth chart here, how I have it. And again, Campbell to me is a starter with Vaughn, as you see in the middle there. And then Munden, Trotter Jr., and then Dixon, Gant, Campbell are at the back there. So that's what I'm talking about, where those back end guys are what you're going to be watching, this last preseason game. It's time for those guys to go out, prove that they've earned a job. And, corner, that's still up for grabs. So there's definitely some question marks at other places. So we'll see. But obviously getting rid of Giles Jackson at wide receiver, that takes us down one more receiver. But, you've already got 12 wide receivers total right now. And again, Mechie just added with Wilson, Smith, Cooper, Marshall, Avery Williams here, Cooks. There's some good competition, Adai and more in there as well. So, going to be fun next week here, figuring out what this roster is going to be. I'll give you my projected 53 then. And then on the special teams, Giles Jackson was someone we used as a returner. He has been replaced by Mechie, who's never returned, but we've got him back there. You never know what you could find. So, hey, giving him a shot back there. And then, of course, the injury list, Nakobe Dean on the PUP list, filling out that depth chart there. But that's all I've got for you on Chance Campbell. Let me know how you feel about this addition. Whether you're a big fan, you don't know who he is, you have a question, whatever it is, here for you guys. Always down to talk some birds. Hope you're having a great week. But if you need anything, it does not have to be about the birds. Always here for you guys as you are for me. Have a great rest of your day. But until next time, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there, and as always, go Birds!